It's on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Yeah. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checkered flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR's lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You move to NFR, feel the speed. Tuesday night, feel the light. 4 leagues, get ready, it's a sight. SAFRL, speed so bright. SKR, going full flight. JPR, rev it up, don't stop. LSA, engines make 'em pop. 5 drivers, each team roaring. Racing hearts, no ignoring. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. Crowds cheer, lights flashing. Through the night, all passion. One by one, on the track. No turning back, no slack. High speed, adrenaline rush. Turbocharged, feel the crush. League pride, holding tight. Win or lose, in the night. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. The victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. NFR, lights are green. Zooming fast, slick machine. Every twist, every scene. Catch the action on your screen. NFR, yeah. NFR, yeah. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin.
Tuesday night clash, we gather here. Four fierce leagues, no room for fear. SAFRL bringing fire hot. SK already taking the shot. JPR rolling like a storm. LSA precise like a norm. 5 drivers, each hearts ablaze. Victory dreams in relentless haze. Head to head on Tuesday night. Racing fast under the light. Fury built, engine scream loud. For each fight, make us proud. Tires screeching through the turns. Passion ignites and the rubber burns. SAFRL won't yield ground. SKR driver spinning round. JPR gripping whistle tight. LSA moves with surgical might. 5 souls from each battling hard. Chasing glory in this racing yard. Engines roar, pulses race. Adrenaline rushes in this place. 4 leagues clashing in the dark. Chasing dreams, leaving marks. Turn on the screen, it's NFR. Feel the rush like a shooting star. The engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far. Where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Not Fernando calls the play on NFR. Every race day, commentary sharp and loud, hyping up the roaring crowd. Feel the power at NFR. Burning tracks, driving far. Where the races never end. NFR, only friend. Not Fernando calls the play on NFR race day. Commentary sharp and loud. Rolling tracks, driving far, where the races never end. And F1, only friend. Death Queen, the top of Porter Sea, in the crowd where speed is keen. And F1, the place to be. Join the race, watch and see.
Feel the speed, the thrill, high octane drama can't get our fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, adrenaline we burn. Pit stops and fast cars, it's a wild ride. NFR, in our veins we can't hide. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. Every lap a story, every driver's dream. On NFR, racing's the supreme. Checker flags waving, champions arise. NFR brings the glory to our eyes. NFR, where the legends are born. Speeding past the limits, engines reborn. In the fast lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. NFR with the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR's lane, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush, feel the speed. Formula One dreams, we take the lead. On NFR, we're flying high. Under the lights, we touch the sky. You move to NFR, feel the speed. Tuesday night, feel the light. 4 leagues, get ready, it's a sight. SAFRL, speed so bright. SKR, going full flight. JPR, rev it up, don't stop. LSA, engines make 'em pop. 5 drivers, each team roaring. Racing hearts, no ignoring. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. Crowds cheer, lights flashing. Through the night, all passion. One by one, on the track. No turning back, no slack. High speed, adrenaline rush. Turbocharged, feel the crush. League pride, holding tight. Win or lose, in the night. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fighting, head to head. Burning rubber, painting red. let it flow. Racing hearts, watch them glow. Turn it up, start the show. NFR, feel the heat. Fast and fierce, never beats. Engines roar, can't stay off seats. Catch the thrill, it's so sweet. NFR, NFR. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin. NFR, lights are green. Zooming fast, slick machine. Every twist, every scene. Catch the action on your screen. NFR, NFR, yeah. Drama high, stars afar. Round the track like a shooting star. Feel the rush, NFR. Lap by lap, watch them spin. Victory's close, who will win? In our heads, the engine's din. NFR, let's begin.
Tuesday night clash, we gather here. Four fierce leagues, no room for fear. SAFRL bringing fire hot. SK already taking the shot. JPR rolling like a storm. LSA precise like a norm. 5 drivers, each heart's ablaze. Victory dreams in relentless haze. Head to head on Tuesday night. Racing fast under the light. Fury built, engine scream loud. Full each fight, make us proud. Tires screeching through the turns. Passion ignites and the rubber burns. SAFRL won't yield ground. SKR driver spinning round. JPR gripping whistle tight. LSA moves with surgical might. 5 souls from each battling hard. Chasing glory in this racing yard. Engines roar, pulses race. Adrenaline rushes in this place. 4 leagues clashing in the dark. Chasing dreams, leaving marks. Turn on the screen, it's NFR. Feel the rush like a shooting star. The engines roar, the tires scream. Fast as lightning, it's the dream. Speed and drama, every turn on NFR. The rubber burns. Feel the thrill of every bend, where the champions transcend.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to NFR. Welcome back to Tuesday nights. Of course, tonight we're back for the League v League Championship, Season 1, Round 7. We're now back to the set calendar. Of course, for the last 3 rounds, we've been having not necessarily mystery circuits, but league-hosted circuits, meaning one of the 4 leagues should have had an advantage. For the past 3 weeks, back to a set circuit, so everyone knew where we would be racing tonight. Everyone would have the same amount of preparation. Early days in qualifying, already a lot of cars coming out onto the circuit. Of course, this circuit famously was once a World War II airstrip. After the war, converted into a race circuit, opened in 1948 and held the first ever Formula One World Championship race. That was in 1950. It's been on the calendar pretty much ever since. It's the only time we ever had 2 Grand Prix in Britain in the same year. Well, that was in 1993, when we had the European Grand Prix at Donington. It was supposed to be held at Jerez. That race needed to be cancelled pretty last minute, and it went the way of Donington. They only hosted 1 Grand Prix ever. That was in 1993. But Silverstone almost lost this Grand Prix to Donington not so long ago. Of course, that's why we got the big rebuild of Silverstone. Circuit than it was just a few years ago. What we do know is LSA is in the lead, SAFRL is in P2, SKR in P3, and JPR making up the field. We don't have the points available, unfortunately. No times just yet. Pretty much everyone out on circuit. We do have, in fact, we still have 5 drivers in the pits. Mr. Rem, Spikes, Cheddar, Destroyer, as well as Levy, Virus. Can't miss those cars, the green cars. SKR, that is the Sunday night league. They drive at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. That is broadcast on this channel every week. 2 of the leagues in this League v League Championship broadcast on this channel. SKR on a Sunday, as we just mentioned, and the other is SAFRL. That was just last night, Monday nights at 8. Of course, tonight, Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, League v League. First lap times now starting to come in. Fricky quickest man on circuit so far, followed by us at Milk, then Skull, and Virus and Andre. Still a lot of lap times that need to come in. Fricky quickest. He's now coming in quickly. Lamb goes up into P2. The LSA car showing their cards pretty early on. Sometimes we see cases of sandbagging. You don't see it so much in the short quali session, especially around a track like Silverstone. It's rather on the long side, 5.9 kilometers. Can take you a while to get around here, so you don't want to spend too much time in the pits, and you don't want to have any runs that go wrong. Of course, an invalidated lap can throw that whole run away. So important to get this benchmark time, get back in the pits, and then try and improve on it. Of course, if you mess up that first run, pressure just builds. Quickest lap goes to France now. Provisional pole. Coffee P2, Lamb P3, then Tresso. For LSA top 4, next best is Acid Milk for JPR in P5. This is Convoy, another one of the LSA cars, trying to make it a perfect 5. P6, if we are currently just disturbing that party. One of the SAFRL cars, P7 coming back into the pits. Was that an SKR car? May have been an SKR car. Didn't have a good view of it. This is Skull. This used to be the start finish line. This here used to be turn 1. So you look at the track map and I think it would be similar. Quite confusing for a time with the current year. Those pits would still mostly reserved for the F1 teams, so most we can do, they would use the second pits around the old pit straight. The start finish line would still be where it is for the F1 cars. It's a little very confusing. Complex, so things are a lot easier. We're riding with a JPR car. This is Levy currently in P4, a 1:27.1, his best time. Look at the times at the front though. Really quick stuff for first runs. 26.4 for your provisional pole sitter, then 26.7 for second best, then Lamb 26.9, and that is the full extent of drivers in the 26s. Levy just outside of that, 27.1, and another 27.1 for Tresso, so very close between those two. Just 800ths of a second cover the two drivers. Acid Milk, P6, Convoy, then Destroyer, then Smurf, Skull in P10. Let me know if that's a little better. Don't know what's going on with my mic settings. It was too low the other day. It was too loud, and now it's too low again. Hopefully you all can hear me. Just let me know in the comment section. So this is Venom, the slowest of the timed drivers so far. We're still waiting for laps from Mr. Rem, Spikes and Cheddar. I was going to say Cheddar remains in the pits, but there he is. He's on his way out of the pits. I believe that is an SAFRL car? We can't tell from here. Have a look at it in a second. Convoy out on track, Acid Milk out on track, as is Destroyer and Mr. Rem. Lots of cars looking for improvements. It's a busy field today, 18 drivers. You don't want to be starting from the rear of the field. So race circuit, we can expect to see penalties. I'd be rather surprised if we didn't. Very wide race circuit, you'd think there would be no corner cutting at a wide race circuit. Well, in fact, it gets even worse. Just tend to get greedy. So much tarmac that you're always looking for a little bit more. Just creep over that white line. And when they're getting absolutely nowhere near the white line, that's how you know they're on an outlap. As you can see, everyone in the field, with the exception of 2 of the drivers, all on the soft compound. We have Venom circulating the circuit on a set of hard tyres. Andre is leaving the pits on a used set of mediums, so I believe that's the same mediums he would have done the first run on. Let's not change those tyres. So he'll probably be doing just the 1 run on the softs at the end of the session. Welcome to Dixie Killer. I see there's quite a few of you here, only a few have commented, so if you are here and I haven't said hello, say something in the comment section so I know you're here. Resso, the man currently in P2, he's out on track, as is Lamb Royale. Ricky P3, lots of LSA cars up there in the top 5. Lebby in the pits, as is Convoy. Then this pair of JPR cars on track, one of them is Acid Milk. Comes into the pits, as they always do. As soon as I go on board with them, they either come to the pits or they crash. Maybe the safer option when I'm on board with you is coming into the pits. Of course, my commentator's curse actually carried over into real life on Sunday. In the early stages of that US Grand Prix, I looked at my cousin and said, "Where's Lewis Hamilton?" And all of a sudden the screen changed to Lewis Hamilton's rear tyre spinning in the gravel. Commentator's curse has transcended the virtual world. So this is Andre, currently down in P16. Don't expect too much from him just yet because he's on those medium tyres, so he's not going to improve by too much. This is obviously just getting a feel for the medium tyres. He's probably going to be starting on those tyres, just trying to get some data, get a feel for those tyres, how far he can push the limit. Cheddar is the quickest man out there. He's just gone quicker, we didn't see it. France P2, then Tresso, Fricky, Lamb Royale. Some of these names confusing me. Then Levy P6, Convoy P7. I think something that could work fantastically. We managed to get a Season 2 out of this League Championship is next time round get the drivers to match up their icons. That would be really easy to then determine where all the teams are. Of course, we have to go from car to car. Some of these drivers drive in SAFRL and SKR and JPR, so I get a little bit confused about who's representing who. I have to go onto the car just for confirmation. We know Andre drives for SKR, we know Skull drives for SKR. The rest get a little confusing. This is 2 JPR cars coming very close together in qualifying. Maybe trying to line up some sort of a slipstream. It's a lot easier said than done. Lots of times you can just miscommunicate, get the entire thing wrong. Of course, this is one of the only circuits on the present F1 calendar that was there in 1950 at the birth of this championship. Belgium was also there, as was Monza. If I'm not mistaken, those were the three original circuits on the F1 calendar that still exist today. Many of them have obviously fallen off the calendar, and when you look at some of those old circuits, you have no idea how they were cleared to race there. Of course, Monza in 1950 did look very, very different. It was a 10-kilometer circuit. Included the track we know today with the addition of an oval. SKR is Andre Skull, Virus, Harsh Cartoon, and Smurf. So there we go. Confirmation from Death Queen. Things are about to get really, really busy. We've just got over 1.5 minutes remaining in the session. Everybody's going to be coming out of the pits. There's already a few guys on their quick lap. Levy is one of them. Right on board with him. Already running out of battery. Still a bit of the lap to go. High-speed circuit here in Silverstone. Lots of places to use up that battery, but if you don't have any at the end, it really hurts. This is Virus. Another SKR driver. I want to say Salva driver, because that definitely looks like a Salva. Hopefully when the Audi money starts streaming in, they can drop the streaming service green paint. Can you imagine the kick Audi F1 team? No. They better drop the kick. Ooh, nice slide there by Venom. Doesn't gain you any time, it only costs you time when you get a slide, but it does look spectacular for me and for the spectators when there's a bit of a slide. That's not what the drivers want to be doing. They want to be as attached to the ground as possible. They want every bit of traction they can get. Every little bit you're sliding, you're not going forward. And that means it's costing you time. Quickest man in qualifying, provisional pole sitter. We're riding with him. Is that an SKR car? I believe it's an SKR car. Just can't match up that livery, we're not sure. Cheddar's still the quickest. Then France, some of the cars have already come over that checkered flag. Their session is done. Of course, if you were sitting in the pits, then your session is also done. The drivers who are still out on track, they can finish their lap times, but that will be the end of that. This will be your final run, your final attempt. If you don't get it right now, well, you might as well peel off into the pits. Start getting ready for the race. All of the drivers have a live delta on the top right hand side of the screen. They know if they're improving or if they're not improving. If that delta's in the red, you're just going to see them peel off to the right. It's not what France is doing, and that suggests there's an improvement on the way. Cheddar improves his lap time, goes at 26.0, almost into the 25s. What does France have left in him? I think there was an improvement, but only in time, not in position. It's at 26.2. He's going to stay P2. And that is the end of qualifying. Let me try get through all these names. I didn't succeed last night. So Cheddar P1, then France P2. They're going to be followed by Fricky, Lam Royale, Tresso, Acid Milk, Levy, Spikes, Convoy, and Destroyer. Those are your top 10. On the other side of the top 10, we've got Virus P11, Skull P12, Venom 13, Mr. M 14, Smurf 15, Harsh Cartoon 16, Andre 17, and Top Gun making up our field. And I got through that just in time. There we go, we're back in the pits, looking at the pits. All the cars to the right hand side of our screen. Drivers doing their final preparations, their final decision making before the race gets going. Of course, what tire are you going to start on? What do you anticipate from this race? Of course, that first roll of the dice comes at the start. What is the plan? You can go for the medium, you can go for the hard. If you're looking for a lightning start, you go for the soft, but how long is that soft going to last? Of course, many scenarios can come into it. You get an early safety car, you can get rid of those softs real quick. You don't get that safety car, you're a little stuck. Also, sometimes drivers like to underfuel, and if those safety cars don't come out, you find yourself in a lot of trouble towards the end. Drivers using all the time they have available to them. There has been a bit of a pause. When you know drivers are concentrating on that strategy, when it's not that important, you just see somebody jumping on the X button really quick. Still a slight pause. When we do eventually get underway, we're going to get the dual green lights, so we're not going to be straight into racing action. We're going to get one lap, obviously around the track at a slow speed. Drivers will get the opportunity to feel these cars with a heavier fuel tank, something they wouldn't have felt in qualifying. Let's bring up that tyre screen immediately so we know who's doing what. I said we might see a driver on the hards going late into the race. Well, nobody's listened to that. Nobody's planning on going deep into the race. No hard tyres in the field. So we've just got a scattered mix of softs and mediums. It's pretty much 50-50 down the middle. The leader, Cheddar, crucially, on the soft compound. He's already at the front, he's already got the clean air. If he's able to hold on to that lead coming out of, if he's still in the lead, let's say, coming out of sector 1, well, he should have all the advantage. He's got the clean air and he's got the right tyre. Of course, now this is the old pit straight, still used on the national circuit. It's the national circuit, a shorter layout. It's used during the year for smaller formulas. 2.8 I think kilometer circuit, used for things like British touring cars, British superbikes. In fact, I think there's 4 layouts in total around this circuit. Only 2 which really count. So there's only 2 which are FIA graded. And then Bahrain's got the absolute record, because this track's main layout has a grade 1 status. The shorter layout only has a grade 2 status, which means it couldn't host F1. Bahrain, on the other hand, has a total of 5 layouts, all FIA grade 1 approved. Now wait those 5 red lights. We've got a DSQ for Destroyer. That just means he can get the car parked up right. He's going to be pushed back in his grid slot just a little bit. We wait for the red lights now. There they are. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and off we go. It's almost said Williams. It looks like a Williams. Give me a break. Is that SAFRL in front of LSA? Cheddar leads the way from France. Then we've got Fricky, Lam Royale, Tresso, bunch of LSA cars. He positions 2, 3, 4. And we've got Tresso, P5, I believe that's another LSA car, so they're all over the place. Levy P6, then Convoy P7. But Acid Milk top of the, I was going to say top of the JPR cars, that's wrong. Convoy is the top of the JPR cars, he's in P7. Lots of switching around here on this first lap as to be expected. This next part of the circuit, you don't want to be doing too much switching around. Now into the famous Maggots and Beckett's complex. Probably the corners that are most known on this circuit. Just like a Rouge and Radion at Spa. Every circuit has that one corner, or that one feature that sets it apart from the rest. Acid Milk, followed by Destroyer, Skull holding on to the final point. We've got Spikes P11, then Venom, Virus, Andre, Mr. Rem, Top Gun, Smurf, Harsh Cartoon. 51.9, that's quicker than some drivers can do in qualifying. That's the quickest lap of the race, and it's very early days. Does have a soft set of tyres, so he should be quick, but he does have a full tank of fuel, so I do still expect those lap times to come down by a lot by the end of this. So far everything's been pretty smooth. We haven't even seen a yellow flag, or at least I haven't spotted a yellow flag. Everyone behaving really well in the early stages. It's a really wide circuit. Lots of space for overtakes, lots of space to go wheel to wheel. Also the chance for lots and lots of DRS battles. Of course, last night we had a 100% race around the circuit of the Americas, and gaps started to form. There were no safety cars to bring the field back together. We ended up having a bunch of cars having a race of their own. Hopefully we don't see that here tonight. We get a close race from start to finish. So far, things looking good. Cheddar does have a bit of a queue behind him. He's got that soft tyre, so the plan would be to run away from this queue, get away from them, so that he can make his pit stop. His tyres are going to be going off first, so he will have wanted to have built some sort of a lead when he does make that first pit stop, but at the moment the LSA cars doing a very good job holding on to him. Of course, France in P2 on a set of mediums. If for whatever reason he can no longer stay with Cheddar, he could always let his teammate Fricky have a go. Fricky does have a set of soft tyres. It's the advantage you have when you've got so many quick drivers in your lineup. You're able to just crisscross the strategies. 2 of the cars on mediums, the other 3 on softs. Give it a go. We've got Cheddar on the soft, it's an SAFRL car. Then we've got France on the medium for LSA, Fricky for LSA on the soft, and Royale LSA on the medium, as is Tresso. Seems to be 2 main strategies here. Virus has made a pit stop, Skull has made a pit stop, both of those cars on brand new hard tyres. I'm going to assume there was an incident between those 2. Welcome back to Ultra. You were with us last night, good to have you back on the stream. Of course tonight, if you haven't joined us on a Tuesday before, this is the League V League Championship. I just realized I've got the wrong logo up on my screen. Let's see if I can fix that midstream. I had the SAFRL logo up this whole time. How do I fix that? There we go, that's better. Now it says SAFRL, JPR, LSA and SKR. So for this the first time you're joining us on a Tuesday night, of course, just like on a Monday, same format. We get going at 8 o'clock, we have a short quali and a 50% race. The difference in this championship is that there is no individual championship. The drivers are not necessarily racing each other, or at least the teammates are not racing each other. Really doesn't matter in what order that team finishes. You get a 1, 2, 3, cover the entire podium. It doesn't matter who finishes first, who finishes third. LSA or JPR or SKR, whoever those drivers belong to, they will pick up those points collectively. So when you see cars of the same livery, don't expect them to be fighting too much. But you can see there we've got an SAFRL car at the front, and he's followed by 3 very hungry LSA teammates behind him. 2 of them on the medium compound, 1 of them on the soft. Cheddar just not able to do enough on that soft to get away, to open up that gap. He's doing enough to stay in front. But as soon as those tires start to fall off, and those mediums become the better option between the two, then Cheddar's going to have a very difficult time holding them back any longer. They're already putting pressure under him, and that's already just after 5 laps. Let me know in the comment section what sort of tire life you would expect out of the soft compound. Maybe 10 to 12 laps, or would that be pushing it? No safety car as of yet, no stoppage in the race of any kind, no penalties, haven't really even spotted a safety car. Usually they flash like crazy on the top left of your screen, you can't really miss them. Now a change at the front for the first time. Cheddar started from pole position, he held on to that lead until lap 5. He's now lost the lead for the first time. France goes into the lead for LSA, that's on a set of medium tyres. Now the car behind Cheddar no longer has that grip advantage. The car behind him, Fricky, got the same set of tyres as he does, 5 lap old softs. So the cars in P2 and P3 on very much the same strategy. The man out front though, he's on a medium set, looking to go a little bit longer than his 2 nearest competitors. Cheddar had a chance to try get away at the front, he was unsuccessful. Now France has got an opportunity to get away at the front. Ideally, he would like his teammate to make that overtake so he can tow him around with. But they don't want that SAFRL car to stay amongst them. Of course, you can't play the team game effectively when you've got an opponent separating you. They're much more in control when they're able to drive line astern. But now you have to attack, you have to defend, you have to look in your mirrors. Cheddar hasn't given up yet because he's retaken the lead of the race on those soft tyres. This is going to be a back and forth for a few laps unless anyone makes a mistake. We're going to have to go a little bit further back in the field to see what else is happening in this race. We've got Convoy. Looks like Convoy is attacking hard, but remember, that's a teammate in front of him. So don't expect anything too crazy. Those 2 teammates will be in communication. If the one is clearly faster than the other, then we will just see a simple switch. Such a different format of racing when you take the individual championship out of it. This is Libby. This is Acid Milk. A bit of a race of his own, starting to fall off those cars in front of him. He's got a rather big gap behind him, so just in a bubble of clean air. A little further back, he'd love to be in a bubble of clean air. Destroyer in P9, he's got spikes all over the back of him. Then we have another JPR in P10. Look at that, there's a whole bunch of JPR cars. I see a whole bunch of red cars in the same frame. At the rear of the field, we've got the two hard runners. Of course, I'm sure those two drivers were involved in some sort of incident. They made that pit stop on the same lap and they're running very close together now. I wonder if those two SKR cars did run into each other, or if that is a roll of the dice, trying something different. When you're at the back, if you don't have the natural speed to get to the front, that's the only way you can get a good result out of the race. Is you're going to have to roll the dice, hope things work out for you, take a bit of a gamble. If you can't get there in pace alone, you need to rely on strategy. Strategy doesn't always work out for you. When it does, you'll get a really good result. We've just had a car going sideways there. That was the car. Is that the car just ahead of Skull? Well, he hasn't made up a position, so I'm not sure who that was. Somebody going off circuit back to the front. Cheddar still leads the way on 7 lap old softs. How much more life do those softs have in them? They could go to lap 12. It doesn't mean they're going to be feeling that great by lap 12. Those tires could start to fall off around about lap 10. Then if you're trying to extend those tires to lap 12, you're going to have 2 laps of sliding around, possibly losing positions. That's why you need that buffer, you need that gap. You need to make up that advantage at the start of the race. Soft Runner wasn't able to do so. Means when he comes into the pits, France will have no problem taking the lead of this race. It's going to be an LSA 1-2-3 when Cheddar does pit. It will be a 1-2-3-4-5. 1-2-3-4-5. Levy in P7, then Acid Milk, Spikes, Destroyer. Those are your points paying positions. Andre just outside the points there in P12. Some of the SKR drivers having a bit of bad luck at the start of the race, but long way to go. So many things can still happen. There's a pair of LSA cars. Almost looked like they were going to do a double overtake, and I think they thought about it. Cheddar saw him coming, closed the door on the second LSA car, wasn't able to close the door on the first one, so now he finds himself back in that sandwich situation. He's got the car in front and the car behind, and they look exactly the same. Those teammates can obviously bully him. They'll be in communication, and unfortunately for him, he's got no wingman. He's the one that's out there by himself. Smurf has now picked up a penalty, has he? Not sure. It's not showing up on our screen, but something came up as a... is that a warning? Not quite sure what happened there. His name popped up on the screen, but doesn't appear to have any penalty next to his name. The front now. France leads the way from Cheddar. Fricky has made his way into P3, then Lamb P4. Those two cars, 2 and 3, they're on the soft compound. They're going to be the first ones to come into the pits. So I'll be trying to keep an eye on them. We want to see when are they going to make this pit stop. Of course, we are on lap 10 of 26. I said maybe lap 10, maybe lap 12. That would be the expected tyre life of the softs. See, in the beginning of the race it was pretty much a 50-50 split. Now it's pretty much all mediums, so most of those soft runners have come in. Death Queen saying we need a safety car. That's right. I've said it time and time again, if you're at the front you really don't want one, because everything's going right for you. If if you're at the rear and you need a little bit of magic, if the rain's not going to get involved, all you can hope for is that safety car. What an odd day, or an odd night, whatever you want to call it, where we have a race in Great Britain that doesn't involve any rain. Not in qualifying, not in the race, nada. Very close together there, LSA, SAFRL, Cheddar versus France. They've been so close together throughout the race, matching each other lap for lap. The only problem for Cheddar is he should have the tyre advantage. I don't think he has the tyre advantage anymore necessarily. Those softs should be past their peak. Not necessarily fallen off a cliff just yet, but I doubt they'll be at their very best. 3-second penalty now for Lamb, that's the man in P4. Also got a penalty for Smurf. Those are probably just 3-second penalties. France back into the lead of the race. I wonder if Cheddar's going to dive into the pits on this occasion. So close together. He hasn't dived into the pits. He's staying out there on the set of softs. That's 11 laps now. I think everybody else on the soft has pit. Barnboy coming into the pits on a set of soft tyres. What about Acid Milk? Acid Milk? Where is Acid Milk? I'm trying to find him. There he is. He's also stayed out on the soft. So just 2 soft runners left. And France and Cheddar still going wheel to wheel. Cheddar not racing like a man who has any pit stop on his mind. He's going wheel to wheel. He's making this race as difficult as he possibly can. Of course, some will say if you're not racing the man, let him go by. I completely disagree with that statement. You need to keep him behind for as long as possible. Defend, defend, defend. Because come the end of the race, that man beats you. You're always going to wonder, what if you had defended a little harder? The only time you should dive out of somebody's way, I believe, is if they're your teammate or if you're being lapped. Other than that, defend. Still riding with Cheddar. He's missed that pit entry again, yes he has, so he's not coming into the pits. He's holding on to those softs. The one advantage he does have with this, he's still in the lead of the race, extending the life of the softs. He's taking them further than some of those medium runners would have expected. They haven't been able to pass him in a time where those tyres probably should have crossed over already. So when he does pit, I don't think there's going to be a very big lap difference between when these medium runners pit. Maybe another 2 or 3 laps. Let's see this time round. LSA does get back in front. Always worry when we see these passes, are they going to be able to get it stopped side by side there? Cheddar just trying to use a different line, put that car in front of him a little bit off. The moment you see the driver behind you pulling off some very strange racing lines in your mirrors, it does just distract you. Cheddar back into the lead. France and Cheddar trading places. You're not going to see a race better than this, folks. I want to go further back in the field and give you some of the other action, but this is the battle for the lead. And it's still very, very much undecided. How many times have these cars traded places just in the last 2 laps? We've even seen them trade places in Maggots and Beckett's, around the outside, in the inside. We've seen a bit of everything, but eventually Cheddar does decide it's time. He comes into the pits. France will inherit the lead of the race. Now it's going to be a very important time for France. He's finally got some clean air ahead of him. He may have had some clean air earlier on, but of course he was under pressure the entire time, attacking, defending. This is the first time he's just going to have clean air out in front of him. He's not going to have any cars near him. He can just nail those laps in one after the other. Needs some pretty decent lap times. Doesn't want to come out too close to Cheddar when all these when the pit windows are all finished. Loves to be out ahead. It's a bit of an advantage because obviously now Cheddar is going to have the advantage in the second half of the race, or will he? I think France will go onto the soft. We have seen that the softs can do 12 laps, even 13. So I presume these medium runners will come in round about lap 16, get rid of these mediums, pop on a set of softs and go to the end of the race. I think that is the most logical strategy. Of course, if your race has gone according to plan, if you've picked up any damage or made any early pit stops, then, well, you're going to be slightly out of sync with everybody else. As for the guys at the front, everyone very much in sync. Levy now comes into the pits. That was the top JPR driver. He had just gotten his way up into P2, I think it was. But now he's entered the pits. It's an LSA 1-2-3. France from Lamb, from Tresso. Then we've got Venom in P4. Top JPR drivers so far. Of course, I think he still needs to pit. 14 laps on the mediums. 3-second penalty for Lamb. These penalties will come back to bite. If we have a close field at the end, these penalties will come back to bite. Surprisingly, just the 3 penalties. We've already gone past halfway distance in this race. We just got the 3 penalties. So the field really behaving itself. Haven't had any stoppages. And we've still got all 18 drivers. France out front, all alone, 5 seconds. Of course, he had to race Cheddar, had to race him really hard for approximately 13 laps there at the beginning of the race, 12 or 13, whichever it was. Now he's got an opportunity at a racetrack to his own. Doesn't need to keep an eye on the mirrors, but now he's coming into the pits. I said that lap difference probably wouldn't be big, it would be 2 or 3 laps. Well, in fact, I think it was just the 1. He's come into the pits, his teammate has come into the pits. Don't need to worry. They probably don't share a pit garage. They'd be very unlucky if they did. Thank you, Death Queen, in the comment section. Yes, remember to like and subscribe on the video. Of course, if it's your first visit to NFR and you enjoy what you see, we upload 3 times a week. So subscribe to catch all the leagues that we broadcast on this channel. Of course, if you've been here many times before, remember to leave a like on the video. This is where you can show your support for the channel. Is that some side-by-side stuff? Yes, it was. Who is that? That is Fricky versus France. Those 2 cars. Is it Fricky versus France? No, it's not Fricky versus France. It's Cheddar versus Fricky. I was wondering, how did France get there so quick? So Cheddar, newish mediums, just 3 laps on those mediums. In fact, 2 laps on those mediums. We've got Fricky P3, France in P4. Seems like he got undercut by a few drivers. Got Venom, eventually comes into the pits. He was in the lead of the race. One of the last men not to have pit. I think he was the last man. In fact, Mr. Rem is the last man. He's got 15 laps on those mediums. So Cheddar retakes his spot at the top of the field. Now Ultra's asking me to give you I can't give you a flashback. I'd love to give you a flashback. Maybe one day. Who was I talking to earlier? I think it was Ubuntu. So the problem is I'm very lazy. I could probably try set something like that up, but that would involve recording and oh wow, just don't have enough hands. In fact, I'm so lazy, I've got a 4-monitor setup and I'm only using 1 monitor at this time, because the other 3 aren't plugged in. Fricky now leads the way. France, Cheddar, Fricky all so close together. Remember, now France is the man that should have the advantage. At the start of the race he had the disadvantage. He was on the medium tyre and he was racing Cheddar on the soft. This time round he's going to have the soft tyre. He's going to have the superior grip. What's interesting here is Fricky's just up the road from him, but he's on the medium tyre. So his teammates should be faster at this stage. Does that mean you switch positions? Do you let your teammate try and get down the road? Or do you try and stay as close to each other so that you can bully the third car out of the equation? I think there's your answer. France slips by, definitely a switch in positions there, no defense at all by the way of Fricky. Lets France into the lead, and now he's going to try and use those soft tyres to open up some sort of a gap. Of course they're going to start falling off towards the end, and then those medium runners are going to come back into the race. So this is the critical part of the race. This is where you need to get away. Another advantage France has is that the man in P3 is his teammate, so Fricky can get involved with Cheddar. Just a bit of side to side action, a little bit of overtaking. Loses his focus on France up the road. All of a sudden that gap will accelerate. For the time being, Cheddar doing a good job, 0.6 of a second, just holding on to that DRS. The moment you fall out of DRS, things become a lot more difficult. Got to stay within a second, make sure you get towed around, wait for that driver to make a mistake so you can get a little closer, and then use that DRS to get back past. But for now, France should have all of the advantage. He's got a fresh set of soft, he's got a clean racetrack ahead of him. He's just not able to shake off his opponents. So it's France from Cheddar from Fricky. Something about an exe file not being switched off, I'm not quite sure about that. Cheddar will probably disagree. It's one of the quickest drivers we have here in the field, but it's difficult to say. You just got to say one of the quickest. You can't say the quickest because there's so many quick drivers in this field. It's so close, it's so competitive. Remember, this is some of the best each of these leagues has on display. Some of these drivers will cross over between the two leagues, so you'll be thinking, wait, why is that driver representing SKR when they drive in SAFRL? Well, that's because they probably drive in both. And they're going to drive for whichever one they call home, which is usually the one they started in, or the one they've been in the longest. Having a race start replay would be something quite interesting. It was actually a good idea. It's got me thinking. If I do one day switch these other monitors on, I actually think I could pull that off. You could get recordings of a few significant moments, and then when the race does quiet down, we can bring those up as replays. Probably going to be a little bit jittery in the beginning when we first try it out. Of course, I'm alone in the comms box. If there was somebody else to record these things and hand them to me, that would be a lot easier. but it is something we'll give a try sometime. We'll give it a trial run. Something I hadn't really thought of. It's good to get ideas coming in from the comment section. Of course, if you have any other ideas, let me know. Of course, some things I can't pull off because of the limitations of the game. France is out front, Cheddar is P2, the gap is 1.8 seconds, it is growing, but remember the scenario I just told you, those softs should fall off first, then the mediums should come into play. One thing France has as an advantage is those softs only have 5 laps on them, the mediums of Cheddar do have 7 laps on them. If those softs fall off in any way, Cheddar will come right back into this race. Behind Cheddar though, it's a lot of LSA. Lamb P3, followed by Fricky, very closely followed by Fricky, then we put Prime Boy in P5. LSA doing exactly what they need to do, and that's why they're leading the championship. The whole point in this championship is each league's got 5 drivers. You need to get as many of those 5 drivers into the points as possible. Their order doesn't mean anything, just need as many of them there as possible. We've got our first retirement of the evening, and we also have our first safety car of the evening. What's that going to throw up into the air? Very grateful for that safety car. It gave me an opportunity to clear my throat. It's getting a bit messy. So now it's going to be interesting to see what are these drivers going to do. The drivers at the front still have relatively fresh tyres. Will they come into the pits and risk track position? Of course, if you're in the lead and you come into the pits and nobody else does, well, then you've just cost yourself a race. If you're a MotoGP fan, you would have seen that from Jorge Martin not so long ago. We're racing around, rain was threatening, he was the first one to come into the pits and get his wet setup bike. Then the rain never came, and the man who was leading the race finished well outside the points. Exciting about a safety car. I know some of the spectators get frustrated when they see a safety car. They're like, nah, it's ruining the racing. It's ruining the racing for the guys at the front, especially if everything was going their way. For everybody at the back, well, their eyes just light up. Opportunity awaits. What once looked like a closed door just shows a glimmer of light. Smallest opportunity. Ooh, and who was that up front? Somebody wanted to go into the pits and at the very last moment decided, no, I'm not going to do that. Was it Levy? I don't think that was Levy, that was the man in P2. I think that was Cheddar. Cheddar thought about coming into the pits, looked like he was going to peel off to the right, then at the very last moment just jumped back on the racetrack. I think he must have seen none of his opponents were doing that. He was going to lose track position. What will be interesting now is those top 5 drivers chose not to pit. So remember, top 5 did not make a pit stop. The rest of the field on brand new tyres, and a lot of them on brand new softs. When the safety car is over, we'll only have 3 or 4 laps to go, so everyone on a fresh set of softs can really throw everything at those softs. Just have 4 quali laps. You're not going to be worried about tyre management or anything like that. Those drivers in the top 4, they're going to have to watch out. All of these soft runners, down from P6 all the way down to P14, they're all going to be hungry and they're all going to have a whole lot of grip. Still behind that safety car. The only time you'll ever see Lance Stroll leading a race. I shouldn't speak too negatively about Lance Stroll because whenever I praise someone they usually crash. So when I trash someone, imagine if Lance Stroll went on to win a race after I said he was horrible. Well, if he won a race every time someone said he was horrible, he'd be 5-time world champion. We haven't seen confirmation. As I say it, we haven't. Exactly what I mean. I say something and the opposite happens. We haven't seen confirmation and the confirmation pops up on the screen. Safety car is coming in this lap. In fact, it's already there. It's in the pits. France now takes control of the lead of the race. He's going to be the guy that decides when he goes, and he's already gone. Might have caught Cheddar just a little unawares there. The gap is already 1 second and already beyond DRS. So fantastic start by the LSA driver, getting the jump on the rest of the field. Then we've got Fricky in P2 just behind Cheddar, then Lamb, almost called him Lamp. Convoy in P5, Levy in P6, Acid Milk P7, Destroyer P8. We've got Venom P9 and Tresso P10. Lots of changes in position here in the midfield. So many soft runners, so much grip. It's usually the opposite of what you have towards the end of the race. Towards the end of the race, you're just trying to get that car home. Tires are feeling slippery. Counting down the laps, not this time around. This is like a sprint race. It's not even a sprint race. This is like a 5-lapper. This is pushed to the very end. 3 JPR cars, they're very close together. One of them running wide. It's difficult to tell who is who. At the front, France versus Cheddar. Well, Cheddar might just run out of time here. The gap is 1.3 seconds, and if you'll remember, most of that 1.3 seconds was made at the restart. We've got an incredible 1 second gap going into turn 1. Just caught Cheddar unawares there on the restart. Was probably waiting for him to go a little bit later than he did. Now DRS has been enabled, but crucially for Cheddar, he's not in DRS. He's going to have to get as close as he can on this lap and hope that he can activate DRS on the final lap. That'll be his only hope. In fact, he'll have another hope. And that is that France makes an error. Just doesn't look like he's going to. The leaders in this championship, LSA, they've shown throughout the season just consistency. Not only speed, consistency. One thing, top the timesheets in qualifying. It's quite another to be able to put those lap times up throughout a race and finish the race. And of course, as you can see, most of the field, no penalties next to their name. And that just shows again the quality of the field. Still a lot of action in the midfield, still a lot of positions to be decided. Look at that DRS train. Have you ever seen such a DRS train? Got a DRS train going from P4 all the way down to P15. Guys, very close together. Let's just have a look at those 2 penalties on our screen. It's a 3-second penalty for Fricky and a 6-second penalty for Lamb, so that's going to hurt him. Oh, we've had a spin. That was a big spin. Who was that? Didn't get to see. Somebody going backwards right at the end of the race can be so frustrating in the closing stages. You think, okay, I'm almost there, I've almost done it, I've done the hard part, and then right at the end, lose a whole bunch of track position, and maybe even fall out of the points. riding with the leader. Not much Cheddar can do at this stage. Wanted to close that gap to within a second on the final lap so he could use DRS. In fact, the gap's just gotten slightly bigger. But now it's gone back to 1.3 seconds where it was a lap ago. Just hasn't been able to close the gap. And that means France should have an easy time of getting to the end here. Venom picks up a 3-second penalty, so Ricky and Venom 3 seconds apiece. Then Lamb 6 seconds worth of penalties, so he's going to lose a bunch of positions. We're going to go down to round about P6. That's when a penalty hurts the most. It hurts when it costs you a position, but when it costs you a podium, think to yourself, why couldn't I just do one more lap without picking up that penalty? Your leader goes over the line. It's no longer your leader, he's your winner. France wins here in round 7, here in Silverstone. Cheddar follows him over the line, then Levy P3. We're going to allow everybody else to get over the line, and then we'll read you those official results once all the penalties have been worked out. There's just 3 penalties in the field there. But another fantastic round of League v League has come to an end. Let's just mute this so we don't get copyright, because F1 apparently really likes their song. They don't want anyone to use it. Brief look at the podium so we can try and get through this order. France took the victory. Fantastic for him. He started in P2, but managed to finish in P1 and got the fastest lap, so 26 points on the night. Then Cheddar in P2, Levy P3. Then we've got Acid Milk, Destroyer, Carnboy, Lamb. Those penalties really came back to cost him. I said he'd be in P6. In fact, he's in P7. Then Venom P8, Fricky P9, and Spikes making up the points paying positions. Other side of the top 10, no points on the night for Top Gun, Skull, Harsh Cartoon, Smurf, Mr. M, Tresso, and then the 2 DNFs, I believe. Was there 2 DNFs or was there just the one? I believe there was 2 DNFs, Andre and Virus. Drew saying that Trey was overtaken under the safety car. I don't think you can overtake under the safety car. The only exception would be if the driver had left the circuit at any stage. Of course, you get some tires on the grass. What happens sometimes under the safety car is your car will just ghost. As soon as that car ghosts, the driver behind can drive past. So the only time you can make an overtake under safety car is really if the other car is off circuit. Of course, that was Season 1, Round 7. What a race it was. We're going to allow a minute or two just to see if anybody does want to join the comms box. And then we're going to call it a night. I want to thank everybody who's been with the stream since the beginning. Remember, before you leave, remember just to hit that like button. It makes a big difference. It gets our videos seen by more people. I'm just going to take a 2 or 3 minute break, see if anybody's joined the Discord, and then I'll be back with you.
Join the race, watch and see.
Feel the speed, the thrill, yeah. High octane drama can't get off fill. Engines roaring loud, heartbeats on the rise. On NFR, see the sparks in our eyes. Racing through the night, chasing every turn. On NFR, take the lead. On NFR swing, every second counts. NFR, the thrill always mounts. NFR, feel the rush.
So there we go. We are back. Doesn't look like anyone joined the comms box, so we're going to call it a night. I want to thank everybody who joined us. Of course, it's been 3 nights in a row. SKR was on Sunday. We did SAFRL last night and League v League tonight. Channel's going to take a bit of a break. We'll be back on Sunday for SKR once again. I hope to see you all there. And until then, cheers.
JPR, rev it up, don't stop. LSA, engines make 'em pop. 5 drivers, each team roaring. Racing hearts, no ignoring. Race night fever, 8 o'clock. Engines roar, the streets rock. 4 leagues fight.